Victor Alpha 3, Hotel Echo Sierra, testing.
Good evening, this is Victor Echo 3, X-Ray Bravo Hotel. My name is Brian, and I'm your controller this evening for the Mississauga Amateur Radio Emergency Service Net. The purpose of this net is to pass Aries-related traffic and items of interest to the Aries group. When checking in, please announce your call sign using phonetics, followed by your first name. Before we commence any general check-ins, is there any emergency or priority traffic only? Come now, please. Nothing heard. Are there any general check-ins for the Mississauga Aries net? Please come now with your call sign and name.
Victor Echo 3, Delta Romeo Zulu, John.
Alpha 3, Whiskey X-Ray Alpha, Gord.
Victor Alpha 3, Hotel Echo Sierra, Mark.
Okay, net acknowledges 3 stations, VE3 VE3WXA, and top of the list, VE3DRZ. John, come on in, John.
Good evening, Brian, and all on frequency here tonight. Looks like a smaller group, but at least we're all here. Nothing spectacular to report from this end at all. It does seem more spring-like outside, and that's very welcome. But everything else is pretty well the same here as it's been for the past little while. Back to you, Net Control, VE3DRZ.
VE3MIS repeater.
VE3DRZ, VE3XBH. Okay, John, well, that's good to hear that everything's okay, and yeah, the past few days have been really nice, and give the barbecue a little exercise, so so it's been nice. John, good to hear you in there. Thanks for checking in. Okay, let's go to Gord, VA3WXA. Gord, come on in.
Good evening, Brian, and all on net. VA3WXA returning. Not much doing here, just, everything's the same as it was before. And other than the email I sent out yesterday with the official announcement about Can-Warn this year, everything's pretty much the same. Nothing else for that there, Brian. Back to you.
VA3WXA, VE3XBH. Okay, Gord, all good. Good to hear you in there. And yeah, I saw the official notice about Can-Warn this year, so I guess we'll have to see what happens next year. But Gord, thanks for checking in. Good signal off you, and also good signal off you, John, into the repeater, so no problem there. Okay, with that, let's go to VA3HES. Mark, come on in, Mark.
VE3XBH, VA3HES. Good evening, Brian, and everyone on that. Not much to report. Enjoyed the sunshine. It's nice that the warm weather's finally coming here to get a little relief for the bones and the joints. Otherwise, not much else to report, Brian. Back to you.
VA3HES, VE3XBH. Okay, Mark, well, all good there. I haven't had a chance. Are we simulcasting on YouTube tonight?
VA3HES returning. Yes, Brian, we're live on the VE3MIS channel, and yeah, I still haven't figured out what I'm going to do for the Friday night nets up at MIS. I got a couple technical challenges, but for the foreseeable future, we'll be doing it every Tuesday. I'm going to have to get Brian or yourself, the other Brian, to put a little thing in the email notices that we're live streaming. Back to you.
Okay, Mark, well, that sounds good. I think Brian would probably be the one, because I think he takes care of the scheduling and that sort of thing. But if not, I could always do it, I think. I don't know for sure, but can always try. Mark, thanks for checking in. Okay, is there anyone else who'd like to check into the Mississauga Aries net? Coming up, please. Okay, nothing heard. Small group this evening, but good to hear everybody in there. So I'd like to thank everybody for joining us this evening. This is Victor Echo 3, X-Ray Bravo Hotel, closing the net and returning the repeater to normal use. Thank you all for your participation. Good evening, 7-3, and stay safe.
VA3HES, VE3DRZ.
VE3DRZ, VA3HES.
Mark, I didn't hear from you this weekend. I assume you're probably still interested in the book about the history of the CBC.
Roger, yes. Cue the Elephant. I love the name of that book. Yeah, the time got away from me this weekend, and I completely gapped out on coming by to see you. But I will try again towards the end of the week. I'll give you a good day's heads up when I know what day I can make it out to your place. The next few days I'm going to be in downtown Toronto and to the east side of the city, so maybe Friday I'll be able to swing by your place.
Roger that. Well, absolutely no problem at all, Mark. The book is sitting here. Just give me 5 minutes heads up when you're in the neighborhood, and I'll stick it out in the mailbox, and you can pick it up and read it at your leisure. Pass it around to any other parties that think would be interested in it, and some year maybe get it back to me. Over.
Roger. Fine business. Thank you very much for being willing to loan it to me.
Not at all. If you're my age, then you're not. But if you were, you have a pretty good memory of what went on with the CBC, and a lot of names in there that I certainly recognize or remember, put it that way. And some of the stories they tell about what happened down in Jarvis Street and various other CBC locations are absolutely hilarious. You just, here's a newsreader standing in front of the microphone and hands come out from behind him and pull his pants down, things like that. That I guess at the time were pretty funny, maybe not so funny now, back to you.
The debauchery that we used to be able to get away with. It reminds me of some of the things we've done to each other on the road. Some of those stories aren't quite radio friendly. I'd have to tell them on a Zoom call with you guys, but we've got a couple funny ones. But I'm sure the team down, especially at the old Jarvis building, there must have been a department of practical jokers. I had a teacher in high school that had a friend that worked on at the Jarvis Street location as an engineer. And when they closed it down and moved to Front Street, he went down with his pickup truck and went dumpster diving. And I wish I was a bit older back then, because I would have shown up with a truck too. The amount of stuff that they pitched in the garbage that he told me about. He went home with 3 pairs of beautiful JBL studio monitors, some beautiful dimmers, Variacs, a whole pile of stuff that they were just pitching straight in the bin.
Just that's the way it is when you're sponsored by the taxpayers' dollars, sort of thing. But certainly there were a lot of exciting things that happened down there at the Culture Boosters Club, as we used to call it.
I've never heard it called that, the Culture Boosters Club. I'm going to have to remember that one.
That's telling you my age.
Last time I checked, you're a young man. You may have a few years on me, but you definitely got way more hair than I do. Aye.
Explains the hat.
Yeah, I don't call it a hat anymore. I just call it thermal protection. Aye.
As long as it works, Mark. Anyway, look, I'm going to let you slide here, and I'm going to try to get a few things done around the house here. So, as I say, when you're this way, give me a call. I can have the book out there in absolutely seconds, sort of thing. And don't inconvenience yourself to get it, because it's sitting here and it's in nobody's way. So take care of yourself, and we'll see you later on down the lodge. You have VA3 HES. This is VE3 DRZ.
7-3, sir. I'm going to go grab myself a coffee before the net. VA3 HES standing by for the net.
VE3MIS Victor Alpha 3, Bravo Delta Yankee, monitoring.
Echo Link TECHLINK conference.
Alpha 1 Tango Juliet Delta mobile testing.
Amateur radio repeater VE3MIS.
Good evening. This is Victor Alpha 3 Alpha Zulu Alpha. My name is Brian, and I am your controller tonight for the Mississauga Amateur Radio Club Tuesday Night Net. This net is available on the club's VHF repeater and Echo link between 20:30 local time, 8:30 p.m., and approximately 21:45 local time, about 9:45 p.m. here in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada. Stand by, please. To participate in the net on the VE3MIS VHF repeater, tune 145.430 megahertz with a negative 600 kilohertz offset in a 103.5 hertz tone. To participate on Echolink, connect to the TechLink conference, node number 9229. Stand by, please. If you would like to find out more about the Mississauga Amateur Radio Club, visit our website at www.ve3mis.ca. That's Victor Echo 3 Mike India Sierra Charlie Alpha. Our email address is ve3mis@rac.ca, and that is Victor Echo 3 Mike India Sierra at Romeo Alpha Charlie Charlie Alpha. Stand by, please. The purpose of this net is to pass news and views along to members and visitors of the club. It also provides experience to volunteer operators in net and emergency operating procedures. All check-ins are welcome, and we especially invite non-members to join in. Stand by, please. The Mississauga Amateur Radio Club meets virtually via Zoom conferencing software on the second and the fourth Thursday of each month. Our meetings emphasize comradeship and learning and are open to guests and visitors. See our website to learn how to join virtual meetings. Non-members who wish to attend should email ve3mis@rac.ca to obtain instructions for virtual admissions. Stand by, please. Before we go into our check-ins, just a few brief announcements. There is a general meeting for the Mississauga Amateur Radio Club this week on Thursday. This is, as I said earlier, conducted via Zoom conferencing software, and I believe the start time for that meeting is 7:30 p.m. local time. Just a little reminder, too, for those who may be within reach of the VE3MIS VHF repeater. Tomorrow is the Cross Canada IRLP net, which is held via IRLP 9013, and if you're within reach of the repeater, you can dial it in and participate. Also, the Friday Night Tech Net is held between 8 and 10 p.m. local time here in Mississauga. Of course, it's 12-hour difference as it originates in Australia. But it's 8 and 10 p.m. local time here, and you can dial it in on VE3MIS via Echolink 9229. Stand by, please. No other announcements at this time, but we'll welcome any announcements that people want to bring to the net this evening. Oh, I guess I do have one other announcement. I believe the net is being live streamed this evening, so it is copied basically onto the club's YouTube channel. And you'll have to, if you search it up on Google or YouTube, you should be able to find it just with the search terms VE3MIS or Mississauga Amateur Radio Club. You'll probably find the live stream channel by using that search method. Stand by, please. The net will be conducted in 2 rounds. a check-in round and a 7-3 round. During the check-in round, check-ins will be called in 2 broad groups of traffic. Short-time check-ins will be called first, and then after that, general check-ins. Emergency check-ins will be taken at any time. Sometimes mobile, Echolink, and RF check-ins may be called separately, just to reduce the risk of doubling and to handle the different latencies associated with each mode of communicating. Please listen carefully and check in with the group that best matches your circumstances. Also, be careful to not transmit more than about a minute or so without queuing up, as that could cause some system timeouts with the various repeaters we're connected to. Stand by, please. Again, your controller for tonight's net is me, Brian, and my call sign is Victor Alpha 3, Alpha Zulu Alpha. When checking in, please announce your call sign using phonetics, followed by your first name. And I think we'll look for short-time check-ins on the RF side first. Short-time RF, that means that you might be in a rush. You can't hang around too long. You won't be here for a second round. You want to get your check-in done now, and we'll look for it on the RF side. So if you're out there, short-time RF, come now please with your call sign spelled phonetically, followed by your first name.
Hi, this is Japan, Florida City, Golf Oscar Hotel, checking out.
Okay, I heard a call sign there on Echolink. That's okay. We'll take that. I didn't hear anything else on RF. We'll make a call for our general check-in shortly too. But let's go to JF3 GOH, I think, and didn't quite get the QTH. You can tell us when you come back, and we'll pass it over to you. Net control to JF3 GOH.
Roger, Brian, good evening, dear. This is Japan, Florida City, Golf Oscar Hotel. Located in Osaka, Japan, OSAKA, Osaka, Japan. Name is May, M-A-Y, May, my handle. First checking this room, you know. This morning out, sunny day, very comfortable, so as you can hear. And humidity 65%, temperature now 5-6 degrees. No rain, so probably 6 to 7 miles here. Okay, then that's for all now. So my area purpose is okay now. Okay, back to you, Brian. This is JF3GOH. Go ahead.
Okay, we copied that. That was JF3GOH, Golf Oscar Hotel, and that was May in Osaka, Japan. Wow, hey, that's a new QTH course. I don't think we've heard from Japan in a while. But hey, it doesn't sound too bad where you are. No rain, 56 degrees. It's kind of, well, here I'm in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada, which is, I guess, well, we're right beside Toronto, Ontario, Canada. It's not quite that warm. Well, maybe it is. I'm not sure. Gee, maybe about 10 degrees right now or thereabouts. 11 degrees, and I think we're in for some rain tomorrow. But it's not bad. It's kind of the beginning of spring, so things are transitioning to more pleasant weather, I guess. Well, depending on your perspective, how you feel about winter. But thank you very much, Nate, for that check-in, and we're glad to have you here on the Mississauga Amateur Radio Club Tuesday Night Net. Let's see. Let's make a call for other short-time Echolink check-ins. So if you're out there on Echolink, if you'd like to check in, come now, please.
be in and out. Brian, thanks for KTRHJQ.
K2DY, Robert in Sydney.
Okay, net control acknowledges on Echolink 2 short time check-ins there, VK2DY, Robert in Sydney, and VK3HJQ, that's John. And we'll pass it over to John. I guess John first. John, I've heard all week about the awful weather in Australia. I don't know if it's where you are. I know where Robert is. I think things are not so good. But anyway, we'll pass it to John. Net control to VK3HJQ.
I was just going to be in and out. Anyway, I have a quick over. Well, we've only had 11 mil of rain down here. I think Robert's going to tell you he's had 500 mil or something up there. But up the east coast, it's absolutely woeful. Flooding everywhere. Flooding in Tasmania. Even on the east side of Victoria, the mountains have had flooding as well. Basically all the way up to Queensland. Crazy. Lots and lots and lots of water and houses. I mean, you wouldn't believe how deep this water is. I'm talking 3 or 4 foot. I've been watching it on the news for the last week, and Robert will give you the report from up in Sydney. All right, time for the second round, Brian. Just doing some stuff here. Thanks for running the net. Don't forget tonight, people want to listen to the ARIS Contact. We're running it at 6:51 local time. I think that's 7:51 Zulu. I don't know, where's me list? Let's have a look. Time tonight for ARIS Contact. Yeah, 7:51 UTC. If people are interested, they'll be talking to a university in South Australia, and who's the astronaut? Sharon Walker, KD5BXB will be the astronaut they're talking to tonight. So that's at 7:51 and 16 seconds to be exact, UTC. Thanks, Brian. Back to net, VK3HJQ.
VK3HJQ, VA3AZA, tech control returning. Okay, John. Yeah, and thanks for some of the info there. Sure, we'll hear some more from Robert too about the weather and the flooding. The photographs, at least that I've seen, look absolutely horrible. People's homes, I think, have been washed away in some cases, but really does not look very good at all. But yeah, with the ARIS Contact, very interesting. So that's a space station, QSO, I guess, and yeah, your timing has to be pretty precise, doesn't it? Because the period in which you can communicate is pretty sharply defined. There's a tight little envelope. I don't know. It depends on all sorts of factors how long you're going to have that access. Okay, well, thank you, John. Thank you very much for joining us. Always good to hear from you. And let's go down to Robert, VK2DY. Hope you're surviving there, Robert. We'll pass it to you. Net control to VK2DY.
Good morning. Good morning. This is Robert, Victor Kilo 2, Delta Yankee in Kellyville Ridge, New South Wales, but all part of the urban sprawl that is Sydney. Well, it was basically a long coastal string of weather rain. The thing ran from Melbourne up the coast all the way up to Brisbane, which is a line about 1,500 kilometers or so. But the weather really got bad just south of Sydney and up to the New Queensland border, but especially in the mid-north coast. For example, my rain total here in my backyard was 411 millimeters. Somebody just about 60 kilometers north of me recorded 585. And I'm sure if I found somebody further north than that, they got more rain than that. So the rain was really centered on this area of the mid-north coast of New South Wales, a place called Port Macquarie, Kempsey, that area. They got it the worst of anybody around. We got flooding. They filled up the main water supply. Main water supply for Sydney is Warragamba Dam. And last year we were worried that it was going to be run out of water. This year it filled completely about 3 days ago, and so any water that it was stopping it wasn't possible to stop any water anymore because it was completely full. So it was spilling the water down into the water systems around Sydney, and flooding occurred on all of those water systems. One of the worst hit was the Hawkesbury River. They built a bridge in Windsor, which is north of me, about half an hour north of me driving. They said, we built this, 2 or 3 meters higher than normal flood range, and it'll never go underwater. It's at least 2 meters underwater at this point. So they didn't really take into account what maximum flood range was. My joke was that the organization that handles that here is called the Roads and Marines Authority. And so they built a bridge, and that was the marine part of their, an underwater bridge was the marine part of the Roads and Marines Authority. But at any rate, it rained, and it's flooded, and it's still flooding in, because, this doesn't, just because today the sun is out and it's shining, doesn't mean that all the water that fell on all the mountains and everything above us has stopped flowing. It's still working its way down. It's probably another good day or two before the floods really start to subside here. Yes, we're right now. Let me reset for a second. So our current weather is sunny and 27 degrees Celsius. So it's slowly drying out. It's slowly drying out. I hear people mowing the lawn outdoors. So, it's at least at least somebody's out there doing something. So it's much improved than it was. But fortunately, I'm not in a low-lying spot. But all of these spots that were in the supposed 100-year flood range ended up underwater. They built subdivisions in them. I don't understand why New South Wales was giving out building permits to build in these areas. But at any rate, houses floating away, rivers flooded, everything flooded. So it's going to be a long time drying out here. VK2DY, back to net.
VK2DY, VA3A today, net control return. Okay, Robert, as you're mentioning some of those place names and such, I was just looking them up on Google. I don't know the coast of that part of Australia. I don't really know Australia that well, but I continue to see Sydney and all of that coastal settlement in that area to the north and to the south. So I imagine it's quite disruptive. Yeah, the rain that you're talking about, the volume of rain is enormous. And as you say, it continues to drain from the catchment area, I guess, well after the precipitation stops. So that's actually what produces some very dangerous river conditions. But I think the biggest events I recall around here, I can remember a thunderstorm once, many, many years ago, that produced 90 millimeters in about, 45 minutes or an hour or something like that. But that's really rare, and certainly it doesn't go on and on and on for hours and hours and hours, like a tropical storm or anything like that. But that's really a tremendous amount of water. So I'm sure it's causing havoc, because we've seen that in the news over here. But I don't know how some of the engineering decisions are hard to make these days, because everything seems to be at its maximum. Even here on the Great Lakes in Ontario, some of the ranges for water levels are quite extraordinary and outside their historical norms. So anyway, we'll hope for the best, and maybe the worst of it's over with. Okay, just a quick break here. Stand by. VA3A today, and control return. Okay, well, those were our short time check-ins, RF and Echolink, and we'll turn now to general check-ins, and we'll go with RF first. We're looking for RF check-ins, general check-ins for the Mississauga Amateur Radio Club Tuesday Night Net. If you're out there and you want to check in, RF only, come now, please.
VA3 ELE Mobile. Victor Echo 3, Juliet Mike Yankee Murray.
Victor Alpha 3, Hotel Echo Sierra, Mark.
Victor Echo 3, Whiskey Bravo Foxtrot, name is Barry, over.
Victor Alpha 3, Charlie Echo Hotel, Charles.
VE3, Golf Delta Zulu.
Alpha 3, Quebec Whiskey Echo, Phil.
Okay, net control returning, and I got a lot of check-ins there. I think I got most of them. I'm going to do a read back. Quite a few RF check-ins. Hey, that's really good. Don't be shy if I didn't get you. I'm pretty sure I had a little bit of doubling going on there, so I'm going to do a read back, and you may have to clarify the call sign. So the last call sign I heard, I know I didn't get the whole thing. It was, I believe, the name was Bill. And the last three letters of the call sign were Quebec Whiskey Hotel, I believe. So, Bill, I wonder if you could just give me your call sign, and I'm just going to go down the list again, but Quebec Whiskey Hotel. Come back with your complete call sign.
Victor Alpha 3, Quebec Whiskey Echo, and the name is Phil, spelled Papa Hotel India Lima.
Okay, excellent. Victor Alpha 3, Quebec Whiskey Echo. So I didn't quite hear that correctly. It was Quebec Whiskey Echo, and the name was Phil, not Bill. So Papa Hotel India Lima, I think it was Phil. Okay, so we got that one. And I heard, before that, I heard Gary, VA3GDZ. And before that, I heard Charles. And Charles, I'm sorry, I can't remember whether it was a VA3 or a VE3. But you can correct me when we get to that. That was, I believe it was VA3CEH, Charles. And I heard Barry, VE3WBF. And before that, I heard VE3PGH. And prior to that, VE3XVH, Brian. And VA3HES, Mark. And VE3JMY, Murray. And I believe VE3ELE, and that was Peter. It could have been a VA there, Peter. Sorry, I didn't remember. I may need a correction on that. So let's see if there's anyone I didn't hear. If you were trying to get in on RF, don't worry about minor mistakes on the call sign. We'll get to that, I guess, if I missed a character, you can correct me when I get to you. But for people I didn't get at all, please try again. RF only. Come now, please, with your call sign.
Victor Echo 3, Delta Whiskey Quebec, Doug.
Victor Alpha 1, Tango Juliet.
Okay, net
Delta,
control acknowledges someone trying to get in, I think, on VE3MIS, and I did. By the time it connected up on Echolink, and I'm listening on the Echolink side, you had finished saying your call sign. So the person who just tried on VE3MIS, give it one more try. But when you hold your transmit key, hold it down for about 1 second, wait for everything to connect, and then give me the call sign. Check in on VE3MIS, try it one more time. Remember, hold down your PTT for about 1 second.
You walked over top of Victor Echo 1, I think possibly Echo Link.
Okay, this is VA3A today, net control returning, and I think I heard someone trying to give me some relay information. It was possibly a VE1 that was trying to check in. Okay, well we'll get you. We'll try again at the end of the round. I didn't hear anything come through on that end, so we'll try again a little bit later. I've got you marked on the list. But let's go to the top of the list, and let's go to Peter. And Peter, you have to correct me whether it's VE or VA3ELE. So net control to Peter.
Good evening, everyone on the net. Just got home and sitting in the driveway waiting for my chance to get in here. So I really got to run out of the car here, as rent is up kind of concept. But hey, wow, a lot of people waiting to get in there, so I won't hold you up too long. Thanks for doing the net, and sounding good as always. And that was myself jumping in there for a quick relay. I did hear a VE1 just as you started transmitting on your last one. I believe he may have been coming in on Echolink. So back to net control, and thanks for doing a great job, Brian.
VE3ELE, VA3AZ net control returning. Okay, Peter, well, thanks for joining us. We're glad you're able to make it in, and you're mobile, I guess, so hey, you're doing quite well getting in and getting, I know you're probably just about to go into your house and all that. Thanks for that little relay. We'll look for VE1 again a little bit later, but thanks for catching that for us. Let's go down to VE3JMY, Murray. And Murray, glad to talk to you. Glad to hear from you. Haven't heard from you in a while. And I hope all is well. Net control over to VE3JMY.
Sorry, Brian, quick correction. I did forget to give you that. It's a Victor Alpha 3.
VA3ELE, VA3AZ net control returning. Okay, Peter, thank you very much. Thank you for the correction. And I'm just going to try Murray here again. VE3JMY, come on in. Over to you.
VA3AZA, VE3JMY in the group. Pleasure to talk to you and everyone on net tonight, Brian. Things are fine here. Special hello to our friend in Japan, May. Welcome aboard. We've been helping out with children and schooling and in-home schooling, which we may get back to. Nice weather here, little yard cleanup. I've arranged for anti-COVID vaccine shot this week, so that's something to focus on for me. And with regard to the floods over there in Australia, I hope the conditions improve. In the day we had Hurricane Hazel here. I think a complicating factor was the ground was frozen with the water staying on the surface. Anyway, great to be on the net. Brian, back to you.
VE3JMY, VA3A today, net control returning. Okay, Murray, thanks very much. We're glad you're able to make it in here, and good to hear from you. So it sounds like you may have some COVID teaching duties there, maybe in home again. I don't know, maybe the schools in your area. I know things are being shut down sort of selectively rather than whole boards in one step. So I assume that that may be what's contributing to your new teaching duties there. But anyway, yeah, that Hurricane Hazel is sort of a famous one in this area because it was quite a devastating hurricane, or the remnants. Actually, I guess it was, I don't know whether it was a full hurricane when it hit this area, or whether it was the remnants, but it was a kind of a historical storm. Anyway, thanks for checking in with us tonight, Murray. And let's go down to VA3HEF, and that is Mark. Mark, hope all is well with you. Over to you.
VA3AZA, VA3HEF. Good evening, Brian, and all on net. Not too much to report here. Just enjoying a Tuesday night. The beautiful weather's finally starting to peek out. It's almost time to crack out those shorts. We are live streaming again tonight on YouTube. I'm going to make this a regular thing for Tuesday night nets. So if you want to get an idea of how you sound on the air, visit the VE3MIS page on YouTube, and you'll see the Tuesday night net folder where the live streams are kept. And one other little thing, Brian, VA1 TJV, that's Tyler, who used to be VA3 TJV. He's moving out east. He switched his call sign. He was trying to check in, but he's on his handheld, so I think he got walked over there a few times while he was trying to check in. Otherwise, back to you, Brian.
VA3HES, VA3AZA, Net Control Returning. Okay, Mark, thank you very much for that information. That was Tyler. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, hey, we'll make another try a little bit later for him. And yeah, but it was pretty quiet signal there. But oh, gee, I didn't know that he had that other call sign. So anyway, we'll give him a try later on. And yeah, good work on the YouTube streaming. That's pretty neat. And people can they can sort of get a clear sense of what they sound like, which is sometimes hard to predict. There isn't if you're if you're on RF talking into the net, it's sort of hard to imagine how you sound on the other side, the Echolink side. Of course, if you're on the Echolink side, you can get a pretty good idea of what you sound like by using there's a test feature in Echolink that allows you to kind of hear what you're sounding like, a kind of a monitor feature. But yeah, that's really neat, and it's quite a nice addition to the net, and we thank you very much, Mark, for that. Let's see. Let's go down to VE3XBH, Brian. And Brian, hope all is well with you. Over to you.
VA3AZA, this is VE3XBH. Good evening, Brian, and everybody else on the net. Hope everybody's well. Not an awful lot's going on here. I guess I'm like just about like everybody else. Not really too much has been happening. Certainly enjoying the warmer weather and the sun, and hope it stays around. It's a little early, but I'll take it. But other than that, we're just hanging around and waiting for our turn to get the vaccine and that sort of thing, and just doing some work around the house and around the shack. So, anyways, I'll be listening along, Brian. I'll send it back to you. VA3AZA from VE3XBH.
VE3XBH, VA3AZA, next short returning. Okay, Brian, sounds good. Yeah, I've always got a couple of things I was thinking about doing here. I don't know why, they just sort of struck me the other day that I should do, but I have this temporary, I think I told you about that temporary HF antenna for NVIS up in my backyard, and it occurred to me that I should probably run the feed line through a different path than what I'm using right now. What I'm using right now is not very, very practical, because it kind of depends upon me opening a window and grabbing the feed line, connecting it up to my radio, so which is not very good. But if I run it on the other side of the house, I can feed it through a hole that's already in the foundation. So I haven't made it's not an accidental hole. It's a hole there. I don't know why it was there. It was some kind of vent or something, but it doesn't need to be used. So I'm kind of contemplating doing that. But I'm wondering how I can, like the hole that's in the foundation is, for whatever vent was there at some point, is bigger than the diameter of the cable, obviously. And I'm just trying to figure out how I would fill that. I don't know what people do to fill things like that, but I don't know if you have any ideas on that when you're coming through the hole there in the concrete. How you fill it up and keep the mice from coming through it. Anyway, I'll pass it to you, Brian. Maybe you have some ideas. Net control to VE3XBH.
VA3AZA, VE3XBH. Geez, I don't know. The first thing that comes to mind is some of that foam that you spray that expands. The only thing I would be curious about is if it reacts with the jacket on the cable. So, but that may help out a little bit. I have an installation that I have cable running in through a window, and I've got a little bit of space in there, and I use some. You can get some heavy weather stripping that's a pretty thick foam, and kind of wrapped it around there, and then when I put everything together, it kind of seals it nice and tight. But I don't know, just a thought. I don't know how much bigger the hole is, so, but something like that. I had read someplace. I'll drop for a second.
Amateur radio repeater VE3MIS.
I read someplace that the silicone sealant that you can get may react with the jacket on the cable. So I don't know whether that's a good idea or not. But Anyways, those are just a couple of thoughts. Maybe somebody else has got some ideas, so we'll just listen along and see what everyone else has to say. Send it back to you, Brian. VE3 as at VE3XPH.
Well, VE3XPH, VA3AZA, next short turning. Okay, Ryan, some sort of weather stripping material. I guess the hole, I think the hole was originally drilled for a central vac system. That's my suspicion. I haven't investigated it too closely from the basement, but it's accessible. I think that's what it was. And I think it's stuffed with insulation now, and there may have been a screen on the outside end of the tube. So, yeah, sort of a curious thing. It never occurred to me to run the VHF cable through it, but yeah, that's about how wide of a central vac exit point, I guess. That's what I think it was. So, it's a little bit bigger, probably about 2 or 3 times the diameter of the actual cable. Just have to come up with some kind of stuffing material, I guess, and then make sure the outside is the outside entrance to that little tube is just stiff enough to keep mice out. But I don't think I've ever had any mice come in it, but I don't know. I haven't examined it too closely. Anyway, we'll see. Maybe people have other ideas. Okay, well, thank you, Brian, for joining us on the first round here. We'll keep it on the list for a second, though. And next I have VE3PGH, and I didn't get your name, but you can give me your name when we pass it to you. So net control to VE3PGH.
Yeah, V3 Tango Golf Lima. It's TGL, not H. Name here is Uwe, spelled Uniform Whiskey Echo. And I'm just checking in from South Etobicoke here. Everybody's sounding pretty good there tonight on the radio. Not much traffic to report here. I got to take some pictures around the house and send it to my insurance guy, home insurance guy, and it's kind of a pain in the butt. But I guess it's almost better than letting him in the door and letting him take the pictures himself. I guess due to COVID, they're not allowed to come in the house, so I got to do the work for the guy. And I don't know what's worse, having the guy come in or having me do it for him. Anyways, hey, that's what's on my agenda for tonight. No crazy weather or anything like that here. Beautiful day today, actually. And that's about it. I've checked in here a couple of times before, but not too often. So I gotta, get myself in gear here and maybe do some more check-ins. Anyways, back to net control there. This is VE3TGL, and everybody have a great night in the 73s.
VE3TGL, VA3AZA net control returning. Okay, thanks, Uwe, for the correction there. Sorry about that. VE3TGL. And, yeah, I think I recall, yeah, you've checked in here before. And, of course, you're welcome any Tuesday night you'd like to join the net. So, interesting with the insurance stuff. I know I had to deal with a roofing company last year, and I had the same basic problem. But they were pretty good in terms of handling the... they had to do an exterior inspection and that kind of stuff, and they were really good about social distancing, and their company was quite strict about what they could do. They did not come in the house, so and I had to make a video of certain areas under the roof that were not accessible, obviously from the outside, so I sent that to them. But yeah, of course it's changed everything, isn't it? All of these little tasks become big tasks because of the precautions. Okay, well, thank you for joining us on the first round, Uwe. And we'll go to VE3WBF. Barry, hope all is well. Over to you.
VA3AZA in the net. This is VE3WBF. So, very quiet week. Nice weekend. Went for a couple of bike rides, and that got the old heart working, which was good. Today I had a tree taken down from my backyard. The roots were sort of going to damage the fence, so gone went the tree. Team of 4 came in. 2 hours later, they were gone. And that left the backyard wide open, so maybe I can grow some grass at this time, and maybe this time I can put up an antenna that's not going to bother any trees. Over.
VE3WBF, VA3A today, net control returning. Okay, Barry, yeah, it sounds like you're busy with your spring preparations and dealing with whatever has grown too much or grown too little. I don't know, it's good. I guess it's good and bad about the trees. It's sort of sad when they get sick and they have to be removed, or they, for whatever reason, they have to be removed. I know around here, they're subject to various diseases, and you can see, even when you go in the park, you can see certain trees are diseased. And they're marked for removal, which is unfortunate. But hey, trees can be useful though for antennas. I've used them as supports many times for HF antennas. But anyway, yeah, sounds like you're kind of busy. We'll pass it back to you. See if you have anything else you want to add, and then control to VE3WBF.
VE3WBF. Nothing more to report. Now I got a clear view of the big Scotch pine in the far back corner, so it looks like a long wire antenna is going to be going up hopefully this summer. Anyway, over.
VE3WBF, VHGA today. Okay, Barry. Well, yeah, you never know. That antenna, the wire antenna, should work well. Good. Hope good luck with it, and hope it works effectively. So I use that one for the NVIS experiment, limited NVIS experimenting that I'm doing. Okay, let's go to okay, Charles will have to correct me. It's either VE3 or VA3CEH. I'll go with VA3CEH. Charles, come on in. Over to you.
This is Victor Alpha 3, Charlie Echo Hotel. Good evening, Brian, and everyone on frequency. Let me see, there's not a lot going on here, not in this house anyway. It was interesting to listen to the reports out of Australia and all the rain. I was in Townsville back in 2009 being chased out of Cairns by a cyclone, and I've never seen so much rain in my life. It was running down, the streets were basically rivers. And I was gobsmacked with the amount of rain that was falling so quickly. Very interesting. It was my first trip to Australia, and boy, oh boy, did I get a taste for it. Anyway, yeah, not much to report. I just basically want to, I'll be signing off after this. I can't stay around for the 73, but I just wanted to check in with you, and I'll pass it back to you now, Brian, and thanks, Mark, for putting this up on YouTube. I get to check out my signal. VA3, CEH, back to you, Brian.
VA3, CEH, VA3A today, net control returning. Okay, Charles, well, thank you for checking in. Glad you're able to make the first round. You won't be here for 7-3, that's okay. But good to hear from you. And yeah, we really don't have anything like that in Australia, that's for sure. I'm just thinking anything on that scale of destruction. At least around here, the only thing I can think of is maybe once in a while there's a tornado, but nothing like what we've seen in the way of the flooding. I guess sometimes we get some flooding in various parts of Ontario. I guess at times it can be bad, but nothing like that, at least that I've ever seen. So hopefully it'll finish up soon. Okay, and that brings me down to Gary, VA3, GDZ. Gary, I hope all is well with you. I'm glad you're able to make it in tonight, and we'll pass it to you. Net control to VA3, GDZ.
Good evening there, Brian, and hello to everyone who's able to check in tonight. Glad to hear you all. Mark me down for just this one, Brian. I'm going to be switching over to a scanner, and I'll listen for as long as I can. I see the HAM conference is in there. I hope you get some contacts from there. I don't see Dewdrop in connecting up tonight. Well, let's see. Anything I could possibly say is an anticlimax compared to Robert's very gripping report about what's going on down there in Australia. The pictures on TV were absolutely astounding, and our thoughts are certainly with them all there, and our hopes are for a speedy recovery. That was quite the news he had to share. Other than that, I just wanted to comment on VK6BQQ's 1000th show last Friday, his 1000th net. Rich has been doing an amazing job, and it was a real
privilege and pleasure to get in there to congratulate him for doing that. I don't see him in there tonight anyways. I want to know what he's going to do for an encore, but that was amazing. And the vaccine front, we're trying to get one at the local pharmacies, but what a rigmarole to get on a list, to get on another list, to get an appointment for somebody who may call you back in a month or two. It's going to be a long haul, but we're looking forward to that. And the funny thing was, when they first opened these vaccination centers, the 80-year-olds were first, and they interviewed one of the guys coming out of the center, and they said, "Sir, how does it feel now that you're vaccinated?" And the guy said, "Well, it's great to be vaccinated, but it's not great to be 81. Hi. Anyways, back to you there, Brian. I'll let you get on with all the other people who want to check in. This is Victor Alpha 3 Golf Delta Zulu, Gary from the west end of Toronto.
Oh, Victor Alpha 3, Golf Delta Zulu, VA3, AZA, net control returning. Okay, Gary, very, very interesting. Yeah, that's true. If you may be vaccinated, but then you might have some other challenges ahead. You never know. At 81, it might be okay. But, I guess there's always something new to worry about, isn't there? You think you're protected from one thing, and then another thing comes along. But good for you on that, on the 1K, I called it 1K day. That was Reg's 1K day for his 1,000th net last Friday. I was lucky, actually. I got in too. I got a check-in on the net, and it was very, very busy. So, I'm glad I was able to connect and give him a congratulations there. So, yeah, he's done a fantastic job. He's been doing that net for 1,000 nets. So that's 1,000 weeks essentially of the Friday Night Tuck Net. So pretty amazing undertaking. I think I first joined. I first participated, I believe, when it was around 500, but I can't remember. I think that's about right. Maybe 10 years ago or so. Anyway, thank you very much, Gary, for joining us. We're always glad to hear from you. And I got you. That's a single round check-in. That's okay. And let's see. We'll go now to VA3QWE, and that is Phil. Phil, we'll pass it over to you.
Thank you, Brian, and hello to everybody on the net. Not much to report this week. Really enjoying the better weather. Great for getting out and exercising. The one person who was talking about trying to get their coax in and out from their shack, I sympathize with the problem. I'm in the condo townhouse and trying to get an HF, stealth HF to 10 in the backyard, and I think I figured everything out except for the conduit for the coax. Try to get something really slick other than opening a window and punching a hole through the screen. But other than that, I think with a little more thinking, I'll get something put together. So hello to everybody, and over to net control.
VA3QWE, VA3AZA, net control return. Okay, Phil, I think this is everyone's challenge. Maybe it's a rite of passage, how you get that coax through various walls and the round corners and all sorts of stuff. So, I'd rather take advantage of something that's already there. So they have this hole over on one side of the building, so I'm going to try to make use of that. I guess there are ways of doing it through screen and around windows. I guess window frames probably. If you look carefully at the window frames, probably there's some standoff between the frame and the exterior wall or the brickwork or whatever it is. But I think it's a rite of passage, and you're obviously trying to finesse the cleanest route into the shack, and takes a bit of trying to sort that out. Okay, Phil, we're glad you could join us. Thank you very much for your check-in. And let's try Tyler. He may have been there with a VA1 call sign. So I'm going to listen again. And this is the VA1 call sign. I believe it's Tyler. If you want to give it a try, come now, please.
Alpha 1 Tango Juliet Delta Tyler.
Okay, I think that was Tyler, and well, you can correct me when I come back. VE1 TJD, VE1 TJD. But anyway, you correct me, and we'll pass it over to you. Net control to Tyler.
Hey there, Brian. VA1 TJD here. Yep, that is correct. Call sign changed up a little bit. Figured my own initials were available out there in Nova Scotia, so I scooped them up. My last shot at getting into the net via RF. We're packing up and moving out of town next week, headed to Halifax. So I figure, my last time on RF, I better make sure I get in here and say a little something to everybody. So, yeah, to start, that's all we got. Pretty busy around here, lots of boxes. So, VA3 TJD.
VA3 TJD, VA3A today, net control returning. Okay, okay. So you're moving out east. Oh my goodness. That's a big trip and a big move. And funny, probably an awkward time to do it too. But remember, you can connect on Echolink, or who knows, maybe even WiresX in the near future. You never know. So you'll still have to join us. We'll still be looking for you. We'll pass it back to you, Tyler, if you have anything else to add net control to VA3 TJD.
Well, the first thing is I screwed up my own new call sign, VA1 TJD. Got to get used to that. Yeah, I'll definitely be looking at some digital ways of connecting back to the net. Still quite enjoy the friendships I've made out this way through the club, and very much appreciate those. And yeah, I'm not disappearing, just definitely changing. And yeah, to your point, moving during the pandemic, the moving part isn't really super difficult when it comes to moving. It's just the 2-week quarantine once we get there. It's a little bit of a bummer, but just that's how she goes. So we'll take it as it comes and keep on moving forward. So see you in the second round there, net control. VA1 TJD.
VE3MIS.
VA1 TJD, VA3A today, net control returning. Okay, Tyler, yeah, very interesting, very interesting. Yeah, I didn't, that's a bit of a setback too, isn't it, that you got to sit there for 2 weeks and hide from everyone. Well, that's just the way it goes, I guess, even within the country. I don't know if things are worse out there than they are here. Probably they are. Not better. I would imagine that things are a little bit better out east, but I'm not sure. So, anyway, yeah, I did lots of good stuff there with the club station and all. And those efforts were deeply appreciated too. So anyway, like you say, you're still in the game here. You can still connect to us, and we're here. Of course, we're here Tuesday night. You can reach us certainly via Echolink. That's the great thing about Echolink. It connects everyone from afar with a pretty good digital system. Who knows? Maybe there'll be something else there on the WiresX on different nights, but we'll see. Okay, that brings me down to the bottom of my list, and let's see. So that was some RF general check-ins. Let's see if there are any other Echolink general check-ins. If you're out there on Echolink and you'd like to check in, come now, please.
VA3, KKY, Victor Alpha 3, Kilo Yankee, on Echolink.
Hey, it's November 6, Romeo Delta Foxtrot, Mike in El Paso, Texas.
Okay, now Control acknowledges 2 check-ins on Echolink. I don't think I heard any doubling, and I believe the last check-in was November 6, Romeo Delta Foxtrot, and that I believe is Mike. And just prior to that was VA3KKY, and that was Kevin. We'll go to Kevin first, and then we'll go over to Mike. So, net control to VA3KKY. Hope all is well, Kevin. I know you've been waiting patiently. Over to you.
Yeah, and once again, I never know when to check in, because I'm not, usually not short time. So I just try to check in when you say echoing, General, or however you want to do it. That's fine. I'm here. I'm in the house. Just a few things. First of all, I'm glad you mentioned in your preamble, like sometimes how long we can talk for, because there's times I forget. I mean, I've been here for a million years, but I do forget. I appreciate you mentioning that. So let me see. Let me flex that blind memory here, because I think I remember somebody. If it's the same person, I remember Uwe. If it's that guy, if it's the right one, I don't remember the call sign, but I remember the situation. It was in 2003, and it was a crazy summer. He was at my house, and I was getting rid of some things. And the weirdest thing about that was that whole summer, that's all it was me buying things and getting rid of things. Buying things and getting rid of things. Like, there was this guy, Peter Norman Thatcher, he's passed. He was getting rid of some stuff. I bought a bunch of things from him that summer. And then there was a few things I got rid of. I mean, it's the only way to say it. I mean, it would take hours for me to list the equipment and everything that went through hands. Tower sections and meters and other what all, and coax. So it was definitely one summer to remember. He was one of many people that was here. I didn't realize he was in Etobicoke, and I don't remember his call. And if it's the same guy, I remember another thing. Yeah, some kind of HT. I don't remember if it was an F6A. Somehow I want to say it was, but I'll probably screw it up. I think it was Kenwood, and he was talking about 220, that it had 220. And my comment was, who the gets on 220? And actually, it wasn't just a crazy comment, because I don't even think 220 is even allowed in Canada. Didn't it get deregulated a year later or a few years later? I have no idea. So I remember saying that. Who gets on 220? So there you go. Might not even be the same guy, but it just sounds like it is. How many Uves you know? Okay. So I'll turn it back to net. I should be here for seconds, so no problem. Back to net control from VA3 KKY.
VA3 KKY, VA3AZA, net control returning. Okay, Kevin. Yeah, the call sign, if you're curious, was VE3TGL. With Uwe, VE3TGL. And perhaps it was the same person. But the 220, I remember using 220. There is a 220 repeater near where my QTH. It's VA3PMO. That's the repeater, I think. And yeah, I know that, because there's that one. I used to talk to a guy, Simplex, on 220, who lived not very far from me. And I had this radio. It was a VX6. It was a Yaesu VX6. Actually, I still got it. I've had it for years and years and years and years. I think it was my first radio. It was an HT. I kept it exclusively for that reason. Actually, it's a good radio. It has a lot of great features on it. Unfortunately, it's not working correctly because of a mechanical problem with one of the power buttons. But I kept it for that reason. It does have 220 on it. Yes, I believe it's still legal. Maybe some of that was carved up and given away to some other purpose or shared use or something or other. But it was in the radios back then, and they still sell the radios for that band or for that frequency range now. So definitely there. Okay, we got you down for the second go. Let's see. Let's go to N6RDF, and that is Mike. Mike, hope all is well with you. Net control to N6RDF.
Well, good evening, sir. Thanks for having me on the net this evening. And hopefully I'm making the trip well, because I'm using my radioless node. I don't put a lot of miles on those, more the VHF, UHF radio nodes, and also my 220 All-Star node. It's the Alinco DR235 Mark III with a Rimalenco interface there connected to a Raspberry Pi 3. Gorgeous day today. It's 62 degrees Fahrenheit currently, and with very low humidity, 9%. And we've got a nice mild breeze, about 5 miles an hour coming in from the southeast. So just enjoying a very lovely evening here. Very busy day today. Currently what am I doing? I'm doing a whole bunch of stuff here. But, always working on a Raspberry Pi project. Oh yeah, I'm just finishing up the configuring another UHF node here. I tore apart the Shari Pi Hat node I got. It was just, it was operating at too high a temperature, so I decided to make a nice little hardware configuration here with a battery pack, and it acts as a, backup power, and it can hook up to a solar cell as well. Pause for reason. This is N6RDF, and like I said, just enjoying a nice evening. I'm looking over here to my right, and another Raspberry Pi 4 with 8 gigabytes of RAM is asking me to continue with the configuration. It's a Windows 10 Pro on the Raspberry Pi 4x8. More information on that can be seen on my QRZ site. And I've been making available USB 3.0 drives for hams who'd like to make a small donation to me, and I'll ship it out to you. And I've configured a couple with NVDA for our blind ham friends, and those are working very well, so we're pretty pleased with those. And then another note, I've recently installed a desktop environment on one of my nodes to see how that would go. And it's going very well. It's the XFCE4 desktop environment for the Arch Linux. And it's very handy because, it's a standalone workstation now, and I have access to all kinds of little doodads, applications, and utilities, running Supermon locally on the web browser that's installed on it, so that's a lot of fun. Again, thanks for having me, and thanks for your time and efforts. If there is a second go-around, I will be around. So if you would be so kind as to add me to that list. So we'll say 73 to all, but I will be here. This is N6RDF Mike in El Paso, Texas, back to Net Control.
N6RDF, VE3MIS Net Control returning. Okay, Mike, we have a 7.3 RAM. We'll keep you on the list for 7.3. We'll call out for you. Sounds like you're quite an experienced fellow with the Raspberry Pis, and they're interfacing to radios. I think you mentioned you had that Alinco 220 radio. I see that every once in a while over at the supplier around here for RF equipment. Tempted to. I don't use actually 220 a lot. I used to have it on HT, but sort of tempted. It'd be nice to have it mobile. I guess there are definitely a few repeaters that use it, like you have one you're talking about. One of your nodes, I think, is on 220. Okay, well, let's see. Let's call for any other. Let's just make one more call for RF. RF check-ins if you're out there on RF. This will be the end of the first round. If you're out there on RF, come now, please, with your call signs, spelled phonetically, followed by your first name. RF only, please.
Victor Echo 3, Delta Whiskey, Quebec. Doug?
Okay, and Control acknowledges VE3DWQ, Victor Echo 3, Delta Whiskey, Quebec, and that is Doug on RF. And Doug, come on in. Net Control to VE3DWQ.
Well, good evening, Net Control and everyone on board. My first check-in on this net here. Glad I could get through. Really great to hear people from all around the world. I have nothing in particular to report. Like most of my Ontario colleagues here, we're in sort of semi-lockdown, waiting for vaccines to roll out, counting the day. My wife got her shot yesterday. It's a crazy scheduling system, but she got hers. I'm on some wait lists and just hoping to get up to the head of the queue at some point. That's all to report. Back to Net Control.
VE3 DWQ VA3 net control returning. Okay, Doug, that sounds good. Yeah, the mystery of the wait list and the distribution is overwhelming at times. So I think my wife also had some luck finding some sort of favorable criteria. But anyway, she just noticed that tonight. And so we'll see how it goes. So it's kind of a little mysterious to most of us here in Ontario. And good for you for joining us here on the net. We're here every Tuesday. We're on weekly from 8:30 local time until whenever we finish, somewhere around 10 maybe, or thereabouts. And you're welcome to join us. We're glad you're able to make it in. I didn't recognize the call sign offhand, VE3DWQ. So I wondered if you're checking in for the first time, but you're certainly welcome to join us. And we're glad you made it tonight. Okay, I think that'll probably be about it for the first round. I got a great big list here, so we better get started on the second round, and might have time room at the end for any other check-ins, any other late check-ins. Just make sure I got everyone on our last round here. VECDWQ. Yeah, okay, that was our last RF check-in. Okay, let's go back up to the top of the list and begin the 7-3 round here. And we'll see if May is there in Japan, Osaka, Japan. I don't know whether he's still connected, but we'll give him a try here. JF3GOH. JF3GOH. If you're still there, come on in and give us your 7-3s. That control to JF3GOH. Okay, nothing heard from May, and let's try VK3HJQ. Hey, John might still be there. Net control to VK3HJQ. Over to you.
Brian, yep, here just doing some stuff on the computer. Yeah, we haven't had, like I said, we only had, I think, 11.2 mil yesterday, and I think 5 or 6 or 8 mil the day before, so we haven't been getting any of the the flooding that they've had up in New South Wales and Queensland. Just incredible. And as Robert said, one of the big dams up there, the water storage, they reckon they'd never fill it up. Of course, it's overflowing. And we've got another problem there where 2 of these major catchment rivers are going to meet. And, of course, even though the rain stopped, they were showing sunshine this morning. They said it's really beautiful in some spots. But the problem is the water's still rising. And it hasn't peaked in some areas yet, so yeah, major disaster. It really, really is. There's not one thing, fires, and then COVID, and then floods. Although, back on the COVID case, first time yesterday, Victoria is actually COVID-free. We don't have one single COVID case in the state of Victoria. All the ones who are in hospital are all out. Vaccines on the rollout. They actually approved the rollout of the vaccine yesterday, even though they've been making it for the last 2 months at the AstraZeneca one I'm talking about. They approved it. They actually approved the facility to make it. So they get the approvals after they've done everything, but anyway, which is a good thing. And I think the rollout started 22nd, and they only got the approval yesterday. So obviously, jumping the gun by a day, but anyway, that doesn't matter. But yeah, the rollout's really, really slow over here. They've only got, I think, 1,000 GPs that are distributing it. And they reckon it's going to be, well, hopefully by the end of October before they have the whole of Australia done. Now, I don't know if that means that the whole of Australia done with 2 shots or the single shot or whatnot. I think it's going to roll into next year. But anyway, at least we're getting there, and there's no cases here in Victoria, which is a good thing. Thanks, Brian. Great net. Back to net control, VK3HJQ.
VK3HJQ, VA3 net control training. Okay, John, very interesting. Yeah, so it sounds like Australia sometimes is doing quite a bit better job than we were doing here. Or at least your infection rate was under control. And interesting what you're saying about the manufacturing. I guess here that didn't work out very well. Although apparently there were some facilities. I don't think there'll be manufacturing in Canada until November, but I could be wrong with that. Apparently there was a facility that was available but wasn't used for some reason or other. I'm not sure why. It was a little bit of a scandal. Kind of emerged last summer. Anyway, John, thanks for joining us. Always a pleasure to hear from you. And let's go to Robert. Is Robert still there? VK2DY. Robert, come on in for 7-3 round. Over to you.
on, Brian. He's not connected on the ham conference server.
Net control returning. Okay, John. Yeah, I wasn't sure whether he was there, but okay, that's fine. We got him for a good first round. Let's see. Peter, I think, said he was mobile. I'm going to try him anyway, see if he's there. I don't think he's there, but we'll give him a try. VE3ELE. Peter, if you're still there, come on in for a 7th Street round. Over to you. Okay, nothing heard from Peter. Let's try Murray. VE3JMY. Murray, if you're still there, come on in for 7th Street. Over to you. Okay, nothing heard from Murray. And VA3HES, Mark, if you're still there, come on in for 7-3. Over to you.
VA3AZA, VA3HES. Well, 7-3 Brian and 7-3 to everyone listening along. Good net yet again tonight. And don't forget, you can check out the net on the VE3MIS YouTube page. And hopefully we'll have some, I'm cooking up some content, so we'll have some videos up there soon. And I'll let a little bit of the cat out of the bag. The UHF machine for MIS, our UHF repeater, is alive. It's actually sitting behind me hooked up to a dummy load. We've got the wires Xbox all hooked up, and very shortly we'll be able to take it out in the field and deploy it. And we'll have our UHF machine back on the air. It's been a bit of an adventure, but glad to finally be able to get it back online. Anyways, that's it for now, and 7-3 everyone, back to you, Brian.
VA3HES of VA3AZA, net control returning. Okay, Mark. Oh, good news, good news. Yeah, I think, speaking of letting the cat out of the bag, I sent you a picture from my C4FM radio to that. I know you saw it. We talked about that last night over to the wires node, and yeah, we can't wait. This is going to be great. I've been my wires access has been going through a repeater in Burlington, which is quite a ways from me. So, gee, it's going to be fantastic to have that within the Mississauga area. So, yeah, excellent work on that. Oh my goodness, so many things to sort out to get that going. It's just sort of ready to go into place. So, congratulations on that one. Okay, thank you very much, Mark. Always a pleasure to speak with you. And Brian, I'm just going to ask you to hold 1 second here. I think I'm just going to give Robert a chance if he wants to 7-3 here. I see that he may be back. VK2DY, Robert, if you want to come in for a 7-3, you can do so right now. Over to you.
That's VK2DY. Sorry, I have to switch the microphone over. The headphone microphones do not work well with Echo Link, so I have to switch them. It's Robert, VK2DY. Yeah, it's actually a very beautiful day out there today. Wow. I may even mow the grass this afternoon, even though we've had all that rain. It wasn't that mushy a grass, so we're getting better. We're getting better here. Thank you so much for taking my check-in. Oh, interesting fact, the mobile phone network survived most of the flooding, so I think mobile phones are becoming much more reliable than they were in the past. I think a few places failed, ran out of battery power, but most of them have continued to function through the entire flood. So I guess that's good news. Communication is still is improving. Anyway, thank you so much for taking my check-in. 73 all. VK2DY, back to net.
VK2DY, VA3AZA, net control returning. Okay, Robert, pleasure to speak with you. And yeah, interesting note about the mobile phones. I guess the standby power is maybe has a greater kind of capacity than it used to. But yeah, interesting note about the standby there. Okay, let's go to Brian now. And Brian, come on in for the 7-3s. net control to VE3XBH.
VA3AZA, VE3XBH. Well, Brian, thanks for doing the net this evening, and good to hear everybody. I don't really have much else to add, so I'll kind of make it short because we're getting a little later. But I'll say 7-3 to everybody, and thanks again for doing the net. Everybody stay safe, and hopefully we'll be talking to you again. I'll send it back to you, Brian. VA3AZA from VE3XBH.
VE3XBH, VA3AZA, net control training. Okay, Brian, good to hear from you as usual, and we'll talk again next week, I hope. Let's go down to Uwe. That is VE3TGL, and Uwe, if you're in there, come on in for a 7-3 round. Net control to VE3TGL.
Yeah, VE3AZH, VE3TGL here. 73's all, and I did. Mark is still listening. Mark HES. I did subscribe to your channel, so now we're even. And no problem there. Anyways, and Kevin, KKY, yeah, I think that was you, man. I think you sold me a Motorola amp for UHF, and possibly a dual band antenna. Both of which I still have. They're not in use anymore, but they're still kicking around here. It might need a little polishing up, but I think the antenna still works. I was using it a little while ago. And radio we were talking about, it was just ICOM handy-talkie, and yeah, it does have 220. I still have it. Needs a battery, though, but it still works. Last time I played with it anyways. And we got to get you on the air, man. We got to get you over to the tower, and you know, lots of action happening over there. I think you'd have a good time over there. So you got to let us know what you need to get over there on the air, and we can figure something out for you. Anyways, this is V3 TGL back to net control, and everybody have a good night. 73s.
VE3 TGL, VA3AZA net control. Okay, V, good to hear from you. And yeah, so you're the man that Kevin was referring to. Let's get it's kind of nice to connect here on the net. Okay, I'm just looking through my list here, make sure I don't I picked the right page to continue on. I see, okay, that's entry number 8, so I guess entry number 9 is the next one. And that is Barry, VE3WBF. Barry, if you're still there, come on in for a 7-3 round. Over to you. Okay, nothing heard there from Barry. Wondering, geez, my PTT stuck here for a second, but I think I managed to get it turned off on the keyboard. Okay, let's try. Oh, so Charles said he would not be here. Gary said he would not be here, and that brings me down to Phil, VA3QWE. Phil, if you're there, come on in for 7-3.
Hi, Brian, and thank you for taking my check-in tonight. I want to compliment you. You do a wonderful job hosting the net. I don't have any other comments, and I hope everybody has a great week. 73s, VA3QWE.
VA3QWE, VA3AZA net control. Well, thank you, Phil. It's always a pleasure to do the net. You get a chance to keep up with everyone and hear new people, so certainly it's a pleasure to do. And we're glad you're able to join us. And remember, we're here every Tuesday, too, from 8:30 until whenever we finish. I guess today it's going to be closer to 10. That's okay, though. Okay, that brings me down to Tyler. Tyler with his new call sign, VA1TJD. Tyler, come on in and give us any 7-3 comments. Over to you.
VE3MIS repeater.
Thank you, Brian. And it's kind of funny that the repeater decided to signal out just then. Maybe it's saying goodbye to me too. So, just wanted to take a moment on my 7-3 round to say some thanks real quick. It's organizing the education group there and getting me licensed into amateur radio, and Andy and Peter and Mark and Michael, and to yourself and to Brian over there with the Aries group as well. You know, everybody, it's fun working with everybody. Everyone always made me feel welcome. Found out a lot of cool stuff. Got to do a few cool things and learn quite a lot. And you know, with all the new technology, you know, kind of like what we were saying earlier, it's not a goodbye thing anymore. It's just see in a bit of a different way. So all the best to everybody out here. We'll still be in touch, and keep on keeping on, everyone. VA1 TJD.
VA1 TJD, VA3 next door train. Okay, Tyler, yeah, oh my goodness. Geez, like the East Coast is going to get a great new ham, and so, you know, we're going to come back there and steal you. So you could be in the club. But like you say, you can be in the club from afar too. So we look forward to hearing from you, and, you know, everyone always admires your enthusiasm and participation. And, oh my goodness, it contributed to so many projects here with the Mississauga Amateur Radio Club. Well, gee, we're really going to miss you. And we thank you for your enthusiasm and insight and sense of humor too. So that's always very important. But yeah, just stay in contact with us. Get your Echo Link going, and you can join us here on Tuesday nights as well. So let's see. We shall go down to Mr. Kevin, VA3KKY. And Kevin, come on in for 7-3. Over to you.
Yeah, and totally remember, because that UVS 200 was the Workman UVS 200, and it's a good antenna for UHF. It's a shorter one. See, I had graduated to the taller one, which is the 18-footer, and that's the UVS 300, the Workman. I heard that it's supposed to be a diamond clone, both of them. But anyways, regardless, yeah, and that AudioVox 2000, and let's see, yeah, there was that, yeah, that amp was really cool too. I really loved that. And that was a little brick for UHF. So, wow, I've ever since had lots of other antennas since then, but I love those Workman antennas. They are super, super, super cool. So, it's like, while the 18-footer is almost like the Antron of UHF, okay? So, I like it for that reason. And then the other one, the one that he said I sold to him, that would be like the ham stick of UHF. Actually, which is fine. That's kind of what a ham stick should be. So actually, that's just fine. And all stuff like that there. All right, you guys take care. It's good to reminisce, and we'll catch you, some of you on Friday. How about that? So, 73 for now, and VA3KKY back to that.
Oh, VA3KKY, VA3 is a net control returning. Okay, Kevin. Well, there you go. So you met up with someone who's you had some transactions with, and some equipment in common, I guess. You're trading some equipment. It's funny you mentioned that name, AudioVox. It reminds me of a cell phone I once had many years ago. Oh my goodness. Kind of a neat phone, but of course they were a lot bigger and a lot more limited then than they are now. But yeah, kind of a well-known company, I guess, AudioVox, or a well-known brand name anyway. Anyway, thanks for joining us, Kevin. Always good to hear from you. And let's go down to Mike in El Paso, N6RDF. And Mike, who has all those interesting Raspberry Pis, who does some neat things with them. Net control to N6RDF for 7-3. Over to you. Okay, nothing heard from N6RDF. That's okay. And that brings me to the last check-in I have here, DW2 Victor Echo 3 Delta Whiskey Quebec. Doug, if you're there, come on in for 7-3. Over to you.
Brian, I'm here. I forgot to mention in my check-in, I'm located in Bloor West Village area, Toronto, relatively new to the ham fraternity. I'm looking forward to putting up an HF antenna tomorrow. I'm going to give one of these Comet 250B radial-free verticals a try and see if I can get onto HF as well. 73 for all, to all. Thanks for the check-in, and I look forward to joining this net sometime down the road. Victor Echo 3, Delta Whiskey, Quebec.
VE3DWQ, VA3 net control returning. Okay, Doug, sounds good. Yeah, good for you for setting up that antenna. Oh, I have lots of fun with it. It's amazing what you can do too with, if you get it right and you can fit it in your backyard and make a few compromises, it works. I've had compromised HF antennas for quite a while, and they're still interesting and useful, and they still get contacts on them. Okay, we are at the end of our 7-3 van. I think I'm going to have to bring the net to a close. We're just about at 10 o'clock here, so I'm going to bring the net to a close right now, and we'll just have a few remarks here. So thank you for joining us tonight. If you have any comments, thoughts, or suggestions, you can contact us via email at VE3MIS@rac.ca. That's Victor Echo 3 Mike India Sierra at Romeo Alpha Charlie Alpha. This is Victor Alpha 3 Alpha Zulu Alpha, closing the net and returning the repeater to general use in a few minutes. It's going to disconnect from Echo Link in a couple minutes automatically. And thank you all for your participation. If there is anyone else who wants to get a late check-in, I'm going to listen around until about 10 o'clock. But if not, 7-3 all. It was a pleasure, as usual, being your net control 7-3.
VECHLINK conference disconnected.
VE3MIS